Prince Philip was known, of course, for his quick wit, his honesty and at times inappropriate comments. He got away with saying things that other royals wouldn't dream of repeating.
But it endeared the Duke to millions, including our next guest, who shared a very funny moment that she will never forget. Prince Philip undertook 22,000 solo engagements and delivered more than 5,000 speeches in his 80 years of service to the Crown. It's no wonder he tried to make light of what could often be mundane tasks and sometimes got a little frustrated. The jokes weren't always politically correct either.
And I just said that I worked in a club. And then he asked, oh, what, a strip club?
But for the most part, they made millions laugh. At a public engagement, the Duke of Edinburgh made this comment about a toddler on a bouncy ball. And while he was once heard calling the media mosquitoes, he had a soft spot for them. Photobombing reporter Romilly Weeks in a moment she'll never forget.
That reporter Romilly Weeks from ITV in the UK joins us now for more. Morning to you. Take us back to that moment. What were you doing and did you have any idea Prince Philip was behind you?
No, I didn't, which I think you can tell by the way I jump when I see that he's there. So it was 2007, which was the Queen and the Duke's diamond wedding celebrations, and they'd gone to Malta, which is where they lived when they were first married and where they had their most carefree times before the Queen became Queen and all that duty came crashing down on her shoulders, and when the Duke's career was really going supercharged. And so they went back 60 years later on this trip, which was more informal than most royal trips, and there weren't too many official engagements on it. And what I was trying to do is what we call a piece to camera here in the UK, where you're talking directly to the camera, and if you're royal correspondent, what you want in the background is either the Queen or Prince Philip as you're talking, and you only really have one or two chances to get it right. And so I started my spiel, and I was pontificating about their marriage and what a romantic gesture it was. I think I said that the Duke had brought the Queen back to Malta where they were most happy. And the cameraman started gesticulating to me sort of mid-flow, but I just ploughed straight on because I thought I've got my one chance, I've got to finish this. And then he started gesticulating more and more wildly, and so eventually I turned around and there was the Duke right on my shoulder saying, "Have you finished?" And with that sort of brilliantly quizzical air of his. And I think there's something very human about him in that moment. You really get a sense of his mischief and his sense of fun.
Because I was going to ask you about that. In your experience, what was he really like as a bloke?
Well, what I observed covering lots and lots of royal events was, I mean, you talked about his gaffes, which are very famous, but what I observed covering all these events was actually he often took it upon himself to sort of bring in the people at the edges of the room who were perhaps a little overawed or a little bit starstruck about being in the presence of royalty. And a lot of his humour was about trying to put people at their ease and sort of break that people being too frozen about being in the presence of royalty. So quite often where he was in the room, there would be this sort of ripple of laughter. And I remember the Queen's cousin once describing it to me as they complemented each other. They worked as a team. The Queen would do the very straight thing, and then Prince Philip would be there creating fun and creating humour.
Yeah, to be more approachable. That's lovely.
It's a nice thing to do, isn't it?
Yeah.
Just a really lovely human thing to do. And hats off to that cameraman.
Although I should say, he could also be very direct at the same time.
Which is
bracingly direct.
Which is what his family have spoken about this weekend. And hats off to that cameraman for telling you and also for pulling out and getting that brilliant shot like he did. There you go. Got the shot.
Yeah.
Good on him.
Brilliant bit of camera work there.
Yeah. Thank you, Romilly. Appreciate it.
No worries.